Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to our Thanksgiving special, if you will. Let's go for that. Of Between the Numbers. It is Friday. What day is it today?
25th.
It's Friday the 25th, yeah. So it's the day after Thanksgiving. Hope you guys had fun on Thanksgiving and all that stuff. And watching the games, as we did as well. So, due to a little bit of technical difficulties this week, we're going to go through the Thanksgiving games. We did have our predictions out for that, but the recording didn't really work. But all you need to know is that we both went 2-1 for the Thanksgiving games. Unfortunately, I picked the Vikings, and we'll pick the Redskins.
Yeah.
And well, that didn't really happen. So what we're going to do, right, is we're going to talk about Thanksgiving games, and then get on to our predictions for Sunday. First of all, Will, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. It was great.
What did you do? Like, did you do any Thanksgiving thing? Did you have turkey? I didn't.
I didn't have turkey. I did have, I was doing my, my other show that I do. I was doing that and I was eating crisps with hummus whilst doing the show.
Oh, with hummus, how healthy.
I know, it was super healthy. And then I just watched the games really, sat on my sofa. Yeah, it was great fun. Like, usually how I spend most Thanksgivings.
It was quite entertaining, I thought, actually. Yeah. The games were really good. Like, they were close, and if they weren't close, then they were just like, it was a lot of points being scored, and it was an interesting watch.
I thought the first two games were really, really good. I didn't stay up for the final
neither did I, yeah.
But I watched it on Game Pass this morning. And yeah, it was, I mean, considering that it was just kind of fun to watch the Steelers offense actually play quite well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they did play. I mean, like, Antonio Brown beasted it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I was very excited. I had a day spent in the library, and then I came back for 5:30 for the kickoff. So it was fun.
I was watching the first game, the first half I watched in the library.
Oh, did you? I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know. I think I just came back and I was like, let's go. Anyway, so let's get on to the first game. That was, obviously Detroit Lions. They hosted it as they do every year. They've hosted it now for, I think it's something stupid, like until like the 1940s.
Yeah, they did it they originally did it to, boost, attendance because people weren't going to the games in Detroit.
And then, they just did it. And then, well, I mean, like Jerry Jones thinks the Cowboy, they always play on Thanksgiving just because he calls it the second biggest event of the year after the Super Bowl. Thanksgiving football is the next big thing. I mean, like, I kind of agree with him on some points there. Like, it's a huge thing and loads of people are watching it.
Yeah.
But you do have like the NFC and the AFC championship games. I mean,
I think it's more because, I think you get more casual fans probably tune into Thanksgiving games because it's a holiday.
True. Yeah, because like, there'll be people in the household forcing other people to watch it, which I definitely would be. I mean, I forced my flatmate to watch it whenever he came back. I was like, it's Thanksgiving, the football's gonna be on. He was like,
be thankful that there's football.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, let's get into the first game. So the Vikings went to Detroit, take on the Lions, in an NFC, North matchup. Before this game, both teams were 6-4. So this was basically for top of the division. And the Vikings fell short. The Detroit Lions won the game 16-13. The game was exciting, I felt, because it was really close, but not a lot of offensive prowess being shown by either team. Both teams only getting one touchdown. And they both came in the first quarter. I think it was the first drive by the,
the first quarter was really weird.
Drives, yeah.
It was two really, really long tries to start off the first quarter. And I thought, both teams, like, after those first two drives, I thought it was going to be like a really like high-powered offense game. And then it just kind of petered out towards the end of the second half.
Both defenses kind of stepped up and started making plays. And then, of course, it was the one huge defensive play by, Darius Slay getting the interception, when the Lions had just brought it back in the fourth quarter. And then like, the Lions play their best football when they're behind in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was weird seeing that. Like, they were, in the fourth, when they got the field goal to tie it up to 13-all, they were backed up. Like, I think it was on their 5-yard line or something. And suddenly, like, Matt Stafford comes out with these incredible throws, which is kind of weird that throughout the third quarter and most of the second quarter, they looked really lackluster. Yeah, and then it's just like they turn on in the fourth quarter that they're like, oh crap, actually got to play now. And then they suddenly play amazingly.
And yeah, it was just that, I thought it was a really annoying end to the game, I thought, because I kind of wanted to see like the drive at least extend a little bit further down the field. But because I think it was like the second play of the last drive of the game for the Vikings, I think Sam Bradford threw the interception. So I was kind of like, oh, it kind of sucks. I kind of wanted to see if the Lions defense could hold them. And obviously, they did. I just kind of wanted to see a little bit more though. But anyway, I think it was good by both quarterbacks. I mean, they both had a very exciting game.
Yeah, I think both of them, okay, Bradford did throw the interception, but I think up till that point he played really well. I thought that he did as well as he could be considering the situation he's been in. I mean, he completed 31 of 37 passes. So he's doing alright there. It's just one mistake he made. And he's in a team that supposedly is not relying on their offense, is relying more on their defense. So you can kind of say that the defense should have come out with more stops to win the game.
I could see, I think if the defense is keeping them to what should have been 13 points, I think the offense really should be hopefully can score 2 touchdowns in the game. I mean, just seems a little bit different from the Vikings offense, which were coming into the season is probably one of the most exciting ones to watch, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, in fact, they were missing Stephon Diggs as well, who's one of their top targets. And then apart from Stephon Diggs, I mean, they've only really got Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah. Not really that many other, targetings. I mean, I hadn't heard of this guy before, but I probably won't pronounce his name right, but Thielen?
Yeah, Thielen.
He was he impressed me just because every time he got the ball, he was always looking for the yards after catch. So I think that's pretty good. I enjoyed kind of watching that, and I was he would always play well. But the Vikings also, I think what hurt them the most was they only converted 2 out of 10 third downs. Whereas the Lions converted 6 out of 14. So obviously you need to keep the drive going, keep the drive alive, and it's just with 2 out of 10, it's not going to happen.
I mean I think that kind of shows the difference in quarterbacks that Sam Bradford has shown really well this year, that he's a very good he's a really solid quarterback. And Stafford has shown throughout the season that he's a clutch situation quarterback, that when it comes to 3rd and long, when it comes to a 4th quarter comeback, he's going to be the guy that steps up. And as good as Sam Bradford is, he's not going to be he hasn't really got that kind of bite and that kind of passion that he's going to lob a 30-yard pass down the field on 3rd and long or something. But there was, I think there was one moment that kind of showed the drive that Stafford had where, there was a penalty called on the Lions, for offside. And then immediately the next play, he gets the ball from the snap, moves 3 yards to the right and just lobs a 30-yard pass down the field. It doesn't get completed, but you could tell that he was really, really annoyed and was really wanted to get the offense going and looked really frustrated. And
there was a time when I think there was the neutral zone infraction by the Minnesota Vikings player, one of the defensive linemen, and so and it's that's a free play. But the referees blew it straight up, straight down. He was really annoyed that he was right into one of the refs' faces. Come on, the ball had been snapped. How you can't end the play.
Do you think if the Lions go on to win the NFC North, do you think someone I know your opinion on Stafford, but do you think if they do go on to win the NFC North, do you think he should be in the conversation for MVP? Seeing as he's kind of carried the team a bit.
Yeah, he has carried the team, but also the rest of the division hasn't been that great. I mean, I do agree. Stafford yesterday, he did take care of the ball well. And I thought he did. He kept loads of drives open. There was a lot of talk from the commentators about how he was always extending the plays, and I thought that was a great aspect of his game there, which I hadn't really seen before.
It's something he's had to change this season without having Calvin Johnson, that he has to look a lot more downfield. He can't just look for Calvin Johnson and throw.
I'm not too sure about. So Stafford's currently number 5 on passing yards, but he's a good 700 behind Kirk Cousins.
I'm not saying he should win it. I'm just saying he should maybe people should talk about it. He'd be in the conversation.
I feel that he's only getting there. I feel that he's only pushing the Lions through because the rest of the teams in the division are kind of not that great. I don't feel that it's because he's carrying. He's just being good enough to beat bad teams.
Yeah. Well, they've got quite a straightforward run in there, and then they have 2 difficult home games, which are at the Giants and at the Cowboys. But then apart from that, it's at the Saints versus the Bears and versus the Packers.
Yeah. So the Cowboys.
I got them as favourites to win that NFC North.
And definitely, if the Cowboys, because they play them in week 16, on Monday Night Football. Say if the Cowboys have already got the division, the Cowboys right now, they should be looking to be number 1 seed in the NFC. And say if they have already got number 1 seed by that time, the Cowboys might lay off a little bit with their players just to get like injuries going. I mean, like just to make sure they don't injure anyone. But it could happen. But I right now, because they've beaten the Vikings twice, that's kind of put the Vikings to bed. I don't think the Vikings are going to be pushing. It's Detroit's to lose right now. And they can have the same record as the Vikings and go through. So effectively, they have a 2-game. I know they're 7-4 and the Vikings 6-5, but effectively, the Vikings need to catch up. The Vikings need to catch up 2 games to overtake them. But other than that, I really enjoyed the game.
Yeah, it was a good game. Should we move on to the next game? The Cowboys.
The Redskins at the Cowboys. This is one I thought was probably the most exciting game. Even though it was like the fourth quarter, I mean 34 points being scored in the fourth quarter. I don't know what it is, but the Cowboys always seem to do this. They always seem to like crumble defensively in the fourth quarter, but because their offense is so good, it just goes down the field and scores again.
Yeah. I mean, they were getting a lot of injuries in the fourth quarter. I think, Wilcox, their safety, went off at one point. And their secondary is already as thin, quite thin already. They've got quite injuries and they were playing a rookie at cornerback at one point, when Deshaun Jackson had that incredible, touchdown pass. Went for I think it's like 67 yards.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And, they struggled quite a lot, and I thought that would be something that the Redskins could exploit, but the real downfall of the Redskins in that game was just their red zone play. They were terrible in the red zone. They had like 3 or 4 chances where they came away with nothing from the red zone.
What a game by Kirk Cousins as well, throwing for 449 yards. I can't remember if that was a Thanksgiving record or not. They were talking about it. Most yards.
He's definitely getting a big contract next season.
Yeah, I mean, well played for the Redskins for franchising him. Not really sure if he was because everyone was not really sold on him yet. He had a good we didn't play in the first quarter of last season, did he? Yeah. And then he only won it over. But I mean, he threw the ball 53 times, and then completed 41 passes, and he didn't throw an interception any of those. So, I mean, throwing for 3 touchdowns, he's doing well. And he seemed to have sorted out him and Jordan Reed. We know how lethal that combination is. I mean, Reed had 10 catches, 92 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So you can see how good he is in and in the red zone as well. He's very important. I think that's the only issue with the Redskins is that their red zone is literally Jordan Reed and that's it.
Yeah, you could tell that they were really lacking. That Jordan Reed went off for a bit in the first half with an injury, and they were really struggling on offense. And then when he came on at the start of the first half, when they had a bit of a resurgence, it's definitely a huge change in the way their offense had played. I thought one of the matchups I was watching quite a lot throughout the game was Josh Norman against Dez. It was interesting that it's the first time that usually Josh Norman's the guy who gets into the wide receiver's head, but this time it was Dez who got into his head. And Josh Norman had a terrible game. He was dropping coverages all the time. You could barely cover Dez Bryant.
But whenever he covered Dez Bryant, Dez Bryant only had 2 catches for 19 yards on Josh Norman.
Yeah, but still,
that's a first down each time. Fair enough. Yeah. But at the same time, it's not. I don't think. Dez only had 5 catches in the game.
But he had a lot of crucial catches. He had that crucial catch right in the fourth quarter. I think it was Josh Norman was covering as well. That kind of sealed the game for the Cowboys. Where if the Redskins had got a stop on that, it would have been a field goal, and they still would have been within touching distance. And Josh Norman dropped the coverage, and Dez made an incredible catch on it. You kind of always forget that Dez Bryant is kind of a top five receiver, and it kind of won the game for them. But yeah, it was insane. I think definitely Josh Norman will be thinking about what could have been in this game for him. There was a few bits. I don't know if you how much you watched after the game, but when they were showing pictures from after the game, they were having a bit of a disagreement when the players were
every time the ball got targeted towards Dez, and if Josh Norman was there, he's always got something to say. He's always chatting to someone. But,
yapping away. But I think also difference. Like I think Des Bryant, he's got a lot of confidence back, and he's similar to Josh Norman that he's got quite a big mouth as well. And I think because he was having the better game and he was more confident, I think.
Des said like Washington need to get their money back.
Yeah,
but. But for that, with him only getting 2 receptions, I was like, okay. I mean,
it could have been a lot worse, but I don't think the Redskins will be, apart from like blowing a lot of those Red Sox opportunities, I don't think they can be too disheartened about what happened. I think they were just beaten by a better team today. And the Redskins have still got a lot going for them. I think that they're still within a good shout of getting a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, their defense definitely something I'm impressed with as well, even though, like, I mean, I know it is the Cowboys offense. Obviously, they getting 31 points put up with you. But they have the capability to make a push, and like the way I'm looking at it right now, with how the Redskins played against Dallas and how they are been like throughout the season, and how the Vikings lost to the Lions. It seems very probable that 3 teams from the NFC East will go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that seems to be.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I mean, you could pretty much say there's not going to be a wild card team from the South. Yeah. I don't think a team from the West is going to get in as well. So yeah, I mean
maybe there's some upsets in the South. The Buccaneers can do it, but I think that's the only team who will be able to get there. Yeah. Even the NFC West, the Cardinals have 4 wins right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I wrote in the podcast that we had originally recorded, I wrote off the Cardinals for the season.
Yes, there we go. We had that huge thing.
But do you think that the Seahawks are the only defense that you could see stopping the Cowboys at the moment?
This is the thing. I reckon the one defense that is capable of stopping the Cowboys in the NFC would be the Seahawks. I mean, I reckon Denver would have a good go at it.
Yeah, I reckon Kansas could.
Yeah, I also reckon. I also think that like the Patriots, however you guys play, you never have points put up you. Like you never get like 31 points put up on you.
I can't remember the last time the Patriots were in a shootout.
Yeah, like, that never happens. And it's always because there's huge plays being made by, just like good enough plays to stop drives by the Patriots defense. I reckon, Patriots, the Chiefs, Broncos, and the Seahawks are the only capable ones of stopping them right now.
I really hope the NFC Championship game ends up being Seahawks
Cowboys.
That would be
be a very game. I mean, because like and all the other like the division winners for the NFC right now aren't looking that great. I mean, like the South, you got Atlanta, who petered out a little bit. Maybe they'll have a little hot spot. But anyway, should we move on to the last Thanksgiving game?
Yeah.
So here we had the Redskins, not the Redskins, sorry, the Steelers, taking on, their AFC, matchup with the Indianapolis Colts, who had Scott Tolzien starting.
Yeah.
Who I thought in the highlights looked pretty good for a backup. It was some gutsy plays he made. I know it wasn't that, but like, there was like, he made some really stupid decisions. But like, you know, they got stopped, I think twice, fourth and goal. The Colts went for it twice on 4th and goal, and like he tried to run the ball in twice, and he's not that big, and just got battered back like the whole time.
You could definitely tell that he was playing with his heart on his sleeve, but he kind of left his brain on the sideline a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff that looked really cool, in terms of those like big runs, but you're kind of thinking in your head like, why are you doing that? That's so retarded.
And then the third and the fourth quarter when he threw those 2 interceptions, because I was like, while watching the highlights of the game, I was like, he's not actually done that bad. So I might just have to, I think he's pretty good. I mean, it was really exciting. I thought he was quite exciting to watch.
I definitely he was entertaining to watch. But I don't think he was, particularly
effective.
Effective. Like,
I mean, Pat McAfee's fake the fake punt, pass was quite funny. I did like that.
I love Pat McAfee's, his celebration.
The Conor McGregor celebration with the walk.
He's got the confidence to pull that off, so it's fine.
Did you see that he'd written to Antonio Brown like an open letter being like, don't kick me in the face on Sunday if you're returning a punt like you did to that the Browns punter. But talking about Antonio Brown, 5 catches, 3 touchdowns for 91 yards. If you get 5 catches, 91 yards, and 3 touchdowns, wow.
Yeah. He's had quite a quiet few weeks because the Steelers have had they've had a real slump.
It doesn't even like they've been effective, but they just haven't done anything that which has been super eye catching. I mean,
do you think the Steelers are still a legitimate threat in the AFC?
I reckon I would probably say yes. They still have the capability to turn it on, and their offense is just like, well, I still reckon their offense is still like one of the best in the league. I mean, you got the Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, who had a great game as well, ran for 120 yards and a touchdown, and then obviously Antonio Brown, and then you forget coming back into the fold in maybe like next week or like in a couple weeks. Didn't they have a suspension for Martavis Bryant?
He won't be back till next season.
Oh, he's not. Oh, right. Okay.
He got a year-long suspension. So basically,
I thought it was a 10-game one.
He has to. When you get suspended for a year long, you essentially get banned for life, and you have to apply for reinstatement after a year.
Yeah.
So he won't be back till next season.
I thought it was back in 10 games. All right. Okay. But it won't. But yeah, like it seems that the Steelers, like they don't really hit. Like Big Ben only hit 5 different. But he only made 14 passes in the entire game.
Yeah, they ran the ball with Le'Veon Bell quite a lot. But...
Yeah, but it's only 23 rushes. I was really confused about how they put up so much points with such little time on the ball.
They just had like a series of big plays, and they were just having really like long, big plays all the time, and kind of just suck the clock down as much as possible. But they did like running the ball with Le'Veon Bell. They did the typical thing, like the Patriots always do this whenever they play the Colts, which is the Colts have got a terrible run defense. And you just stick an extra offensive lineman in and just run the ball all the time.
I reckon. Other than that, I'm pretty sure Andrew Luck's gonna be back next week for their game.
Yeah, I mean the Colts. I mean they still have a chance to make the playoffs because they're in such a bad division.
True.
I can't see them as a threat at all. I mean, I'm still struggling to see a team that's a threat. Maybe as good as the Raiders are at the moment, I think if they played the Patriots, I could see them struggling against the Patriots.
I reckon they're probably the biggest threat to the Patriots in the NFC.
AFC.
I'm sorry, the NFC, sorry. I'd probably have to say the Chiefs.
Even after that loss to the Bucks?
Yeah, because I think that was a one-off. I think that wasn't... I mean, they come back the week before against Carolina by down 17 points. And they have, like, I reckon if their defense when they stay in the game, the Chiefs, they're always in it. Like, if they're within one score, then I would put my money on the Chiefs to get through there. It's just that I'm not sure if they win the division, Chiefs, and they get the number 2 seed or the whatever seed. They're currently 2 games off it right now, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I'd probably see the people to take down the Patriots most as the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But they might not even make the playoffs. It could happen, but yeah, I'm not sure. They still have 3 divisional games to go.
That division's really tight. I think there's going to be
tough one,
a lot of
I honestly might think that the Dolphins might sneak into the playoffs.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they've got the potential. It's a nice thing. Ryan Tannehill, he can go and have 1 loss in the playoffs. Put that on his record.
I mean, the Dolphins have got who they got coming up this week. I don't know who they have coming up. The Dolphins are having the 49ers this week, and then the Ravens. That'll be a crunch game. That could be seeing if maybe a potential playoff team there with the Ravens or the Dolphins. Anyway, should we get into our predictions for this week? What are we at now? So right, obviously all the Thanksgiving games are over, so we already got the rest of the games. And as it's Thanksgiving's week, no team is on a bye. I think there's teams on a bye next week. Yeah, the Browns and the Titans.
There's like the Browns and the Titans on a bye next week.
Week 13.
And then we get into the real stuff.
Yeah, there we go. Anyway, let's move on to the Sunday games. In the afternoon, the early games, we have the Titans going to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Jay Cutler-less Bears. The number of times we've tried to do this podcast before this week, we've mucked up on. We've talked about how Jay Cutler is not going to be MVP, but there is hope, as you said before the podcast, that Jay Cutler might come back at the end of the season.
Yeah, he's getting a second opinion on that shoulder.
But they're currently 2-8, and I think they'll be 2-9 because the Titans will win this game.
Yeah, I think, and also like the Bears, they're going to be a rudderless ship without Jay Cutler.
Who have they got in? Josh McCown? Is that backup?
No, it's Brian Hoyer, isn't it?
Brian Hoyer. Oh, of course. He is, because Josh McCown's the Browns.
Yeah.
Anyway,
one of the many quarterbacks the Browns have
I'm
played.
guessing we're both taking the Titans there.
Yeah.
Right, Jags at Bills. Now this is the one team, so the Jags, like, the amount of hype this year, the Jags got currently 2-8. They're playing the Bills, who just came off a victory, I think, last week, no?
Yeah, the Bills.
And the Bills beat who they beat. The Bills beat the Bengals in Cincinnati, so that was a tough game to win. And I reckon with the weather that they're going to have is Orchard Park's the Bills one?
Yep.
Yeah. The Jags are not going to be able to play against that, so I've got the Bills in this game.
I'm going to stick with the Bills as much as it pains me to see other AFC East teams winning. Just quickly, the backup for the Chicago Bears is Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley. Okay, the
pick in 2013.
The ex-Eagle player.
Yeah, he was at the Eagles for one season,
Chiefs.
and he went then he was at the Cardinals.
The Cardinals.
And came out of USC.
Right. Well, I don't think he's gonna be able to do it against the Titans.
He's never thrown a touchdown.
Maybe he can do it against the Titans.
His career statistics are 0 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
That's pretty bad.
Right.
The Bengals travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in an AFC North matchup.
AFL, the old AFL league.
Yeah, the AFC North matchup. The Bengals have really gone off a cliff here. They've just hit a down spiral. It's not working well for them. AJ Green's out, I'm pretty sure.
He's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, and the Ravens still have a chance of getting into the playoffs here. And I'm gonna pick the Ravens.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals because I think that Ravens offense is just such an issue for me at the moment that they're not getting anything done on offense. And Joe Flacco's looking kind of clueless at the moment. He can't complete any passes. None of their receivers are getting open. And they're not even running that. They did run the ball for a stretch quite well with Terrence West, but they're lacking that at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think they'll still be quite wounded after losing to Dallas in a game that they could have actually won. And I think that will hit them hard. And I think the Bengals will come back stronger despite losing AJ Green. I think that the Bengals are kind of done for this season, but I think they'll take some scalps on the way.
Yeah, I mean, and taking scalps, definitely a divisional matchup, so it could happen there. Right, the Cardinals playing the Falcons. This is probably this is a really exciting matchup, actually, having the Cardinals offense going up against that, the Falcons offense going up against that Cardinals defense and that secondary. With Patrick Peterson who's going to be shadowing Julio Jones the entire day. With help over the top, obviously, from the Honey Badger. So we're going to see, but I think the Falcons got this. I mean, it's in Atlanta, and the Cardinals aren't the same team as they were last season. So I'm going to have to stick with with Matty Ice. Although I think this is the week that the Panthers get eliminated from the playoffs, with the Falcons winning and the Panthers playing the Raiders. I think it's going to be a bit of an issue for us to get into the playoffs if the Falcons win. But I'm picking them to.
I'm going to stick with you and go with the Falcons, seeing as I'm deciding to kick the Cardinals out of the playoffs this year. Mainly because it's not like I've seen the Cardinals that they've had a few games where they played amazingly. They've just been really mediocre all season.
Mm-hmm. Haven't been that great, yeah.
And they genuinely have looked I think they're 4-6, I want to say, or 5-6. And they have looked like a team that's playing at that level. They've had 1 or 2 games against bad teams where they've played well, but they haven't really looked the same this year. And I think that they're going to get another loss against the Falcons, who, the surprise. Well, I don't know. Is a Falcons still the hype team of the year, or has it moved to the Raiders and the Cowboys?
I think the Raiders and the Cowboys definitely the most hype team of the year. I think the Falcons have gone on their little slump, so they haven't been the same ones. So yeah. Anyway, moving on for that, I think the next game's pretty obvious. The Giants are playing the Browns. The Browns are going to go to 0-12, and the Giants still kind of keeping it up in that NFC East, trying to catch up with the Cowboys there.
Yeah, it's a potential trap game for the Giants, but I don't think the Browns know how to work the trap, so the Giants.
Right, Rams are playing the Saints in New Orleans, and it's Jared Goff will be starting again. Which means I think that Drew Brees is going to do it. I think Drew Brees is going to take the Rams secondary apart, really. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. Right, both picking the Saints in that game. Moving on to another NFC West matchup. Well, division. The 49ers from San Francisco. They are playing the Dolphins in Miami. They're going all the way across. They're going to be playing at like 10 a.m. their time. Plus, right, so moving on to the Sunday night game. We have the Chiefs taking the Broncos on, and this is going to be an exciting game. I'm looking forward to what. I won't watch it. Because it's too late. But I'm looking forward to see the highlights of this game. I think in this game it's been really interesting to see because I think the Chiefs need to come up with a win here for them to have a chance of competing and still being in the wild card race. But which I think they could do. But I do like the Broncos' defense way too much to think that the Chiefs are going to beat them. I don't know because they both have really stellar defenses. I'm gonna have to go with Denver because they're home, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs picked up the W here.
I'm gonna flip it the other way and go for the Chiefs. I think mainly because of their pass rush can really expose quite a weak offensive line that the Broncos have, and with quarterbacks like Trevor Siemian or Paxton Lynch in the backfield, they really struggle against a really good pass rush, which the Chiefs have. And plus, despite the really good Denver defense, the Chiefs always find ways to score points and to keep themselves in games. And I think it'll be quite a low-scoring game, and the Chiefs will come out with a win.
Okay, fair enough. Right, moving on to the Monday night game. Here that we have the exciting game with the Packers taking on the Eagles here. I like the Eagles in this game simply because the Packers have been too lackluster, and I haven't seen anything from them which has been that exciting. So I'm gonna go with